In this lesson, we're going to build the arms for our character. Alright, so at this point, we've created the torso and the shoulders. And now we're going to continue the arms right from the shoulders themselves. Because it's very important that the topology works with the shoulders, as with the arms. Now, one issue that comes up quite a bit with character development is the armpit itself. I've seen some characters to where they just take this topology and they extrude it down and create the arms. While it does look good at the T-pose or the N pose here is what we built it in. So just to give you a little bit of an explanation of that, a character that has the arms straight out, that's called a T-pose. The character with the arms down at an angle like this is called the M pose. And so this is a little more accepted now. But anyway, with the character arms, it tends to, the armpit tends to fall on the waist side, but it's very important that we have that geometry there. Because whenever the character puts their arms completely down, we need a place for the geometry underneath the arm to fold into. And then whenever the character raises their arm, we need to have some extra geometry underneath here to stretch beyond this geometry down here. Because if the character was to lift their arm without that geometry, it's going to lift all of this up. And it's going to tear up the model. So having that extra geometry is going to be crucial with your character animation. So with this, let's go ahead and get started. So let's go to Editable Poly. And let's go to Edge Mode. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this edge and that edge. And I'm just simply going to bridge that with a single polygon. So, okay, so once I've done that, now what I need to do is I need to get the rest of this geometry for my arm here. So if I hit 3 on the keyboard and I take a look at this border, let me count my edges that I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 edges. I want to take that down one more. So I'm going to go from this edge here to here. And let's bridge that. So now I've got this geometry. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 edges. But instead of using 7, I really need 8. Because a nice even number is good to have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these edges right here. I'm going to select that ring. And we can hold down Shift and select that next edge. And let's use Connect. And connecting that's going to create a segment right down the middle. Now, instead of using Connect, and if I use Connect, it's going to go ahead and create that, but it's going to keep those polygons flat, and I want that to come out. So I'm going to use the Loops tools up here, and I'm going to use Flow Connect. And what that will do is it will create a segment, but then try to conform to the shape that's already there. So now, at this point, I'm going to take these vertices, and let's make sure that we have our edge constraint on. And let's take these vertices and let's just pull those across the model. Okay, like so. And let's get that even out a little bit more. So let's spread those polygons apart. So you should be able to just pull those over in the X or the Y and get those evened out. So you want to make sure your polygons are pretty much the same size all the way across there. You could also take these polygons here, you can pull that across a little bit more. Try to get these to spread out some. Either way will be fine. Okay, so now that I've got those split apart, now I've got this geometry here. And this is going to act as the armpit itself. So I need to shape this a little bit better. I'm going to take this vertex, I'm going to pull that up. And let's take all 3 of those vertices right in here, and let's push those in. Now let's go ahead and turn off our constraints. Let's push that in. That's going to start that geometry underneath that arm. And I'm going to take these edges, or these vertices, and I'm going to push those in. So it creates kind of this pocket right in here. And that looks fine for right now. Now the next thing that I need to worry about is going to be this geometry right in here. Let me pull this vertex down here. And we're going to take all of this right here. So let's go to border mode and select that border. There should be 8 edges right there. Okay, so a nice and even number. And with those edges, I'm going to hit cap, and we're going to create that polygon. Now let's go to polygon mode, hit 4 on the keyboard, and select that polygon. And I want to extrude it out. Okay, so to do this, let's go ahead and use our extrude tool. Okay, we'll extrude that out, and we'll hit OK. Now you'll see that that does not look round at all. That doesn't look much like an arm. Okay, and that can be very difficult to form into an arm. Now to get that into a cylindrical shape, I could sit here and pull those vertices around and get that exactly the way it should be. Or I can use the polygon tools here and use GeoPoly. And what that will do is it will conform that polygon into a perfect cylindrical shape. Okay, so it counts the number of sides that you have and then creates that shape from there. And now all I have to do is come in and go to vertex mode and start pushing these in a little bit and create that armpit shape. So if it folds in on itself, that's okay underneath this area. That's what it's meant to do. Okay, so we'll push that in and we'll try to get that rounded out a little bit more. And I'll pull it down and push it in some more. This geometry that's in here, it needs to be smooth, but it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It doesn't have to be very pretty. Okay, because it's, again, it's meant to be extra geometry whenever the arm is pulled upward. Alright, so we've got a nice little shape here. That's all folding up in there properly. Looks really good. Alright, so now let's go to polygon mode. And with this polygon selected, let's go to our front view. And you'll see that part of it is following along with our geometry. But it's pretty big. So let's go to our scale tool and let's scale that in all 3 directions. Grab it right there in the middle. And then let's pull it down. And then I'm going to grab my move tool and then I'm going to pull it back up into position to right about here. Okay. Now, I have this, and now what I'm able to do is grab those vertices that I've pushed in, and I can pull those out a little bit more and allow that to relax. Because now I have this extra geometry that's also going to help me with the armpit shape. Alright, so now that we've got all of this worked out, got all the geometry that we need, now we can come in and we can start to move these vertices around a little bit more. So I'm going to pull that up, as well as this one. Okay, nice even shapes there. We might come in and add one more segment right here using our Swift Loop tool. So hold down Shift, drop that in there, and that's going to pull that out. But what I want to do is I want to actually push some of those in. So let's take these vertices, let me pull that up there. And let me take this one and all these, and we're going to pull those really close. And that's going to create that muscle definition that we're going to need on that shoulder from the arm. Alright, so looking good. Happy with that. I'm going to push that in some. Pull that up, as well as this. And then we're going to push that in slightly there. Then I'll pull that one out, kind of like so. So I've got all that geometry that I need for that armpit. And we have not forgotten about that geometry. So we've got plenty in there, so that way whenever that arm lifts up, this is all going to be able to stretch and look really nice. Let's go ahead and take a look at it with Turbo Smooth turned on. Just kind of see that geometry working there. Okay, so now that we've created the armpit, the rest of the arm is going to be pretty simple. All we'll have to do is just take that polygon and extrude that out. So let's go ahead and take care of that really quickly. Let's go to polygon mode. That bottom polygon should be selected there. If it's not, go to perspective and make sure that that is selected. And I'm going to take this polygon, I'm just going to pull it down to the elbow here. And by doing so, this allows me to have enough room to where I can add some segments in here to shape it out as I need to, but right now it's okay. I'm going to come in and I'm going to scale it in all three directions, get that to fit a little bit closer to the arm shape. And then from here, I'm going to take that polygon, grab my rotation tool, make sure we're under the local coordinate system. I'm going to rotate that in the Y, and I'm going to have that polygon kind of point off in this direction. So if you can kind of see that, it's going to kind of point off here. So that way the arm is going to be bent a little bit forward whenever we're modeling. Okay, so the arm's going to come out, and then at the elbow it's going to bend forward. And this is going to help with rigging. So the person that's going to rig this after you're finished modeling it is really going to appreciate that you did that. So now that we have that, let's come in and let's extrude one more time. I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring it right down here to the wrist, keeping that same direction there. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control-Shift-S to bring up our Swift Loop tool, or we go to Edit Swift Loop. Hold down Shift right here in the middle, and actually let's click right here. Let's not hold down Shift that time. Let's double click on that edge, and then we're going to scale this out in all three directions. Okay, get that form there. Let's go to polygon mode again, select that bottom polygon and scale that down to about that wrist size. And then let's go to Swift Loop, and let's create one right here. With that loop selected, let's scale it up a little bit, and then actually move it up here some. Actually, no, let's not move that. Let's leave it just the way it is for right now. Let's also create some loops up here. So using our Swift Loop tool, I'm going to create a loop right here in the middle. That looks good, and we'll create one here and then there. And then we'll have one here and here. So we have these loops in here for a reason, because the arm is going to deform quite a bit. It's going to be going to have a lot of movement, and the more segments that you have in an area, the more flexible it's going to be. Now what we're going to do in our next lesson is we're going to finish out the arms themselves. We've got them shaped out, but now we need to make sure that we add all of the loops that we need for deformation around the elbow, and then we'll start getting ready for the hands. So we'll get started with that next.